morning, Don Boyd. We are live.
We got
the morning boost.
We got there in the end.
Yes, we got there in the end.
It's a shame. It's a shame that
better than none.
It's a shame it wasn't recorded. To what's it called? An outtake creator.
Yeah. Right. Mate, anyway. If I kept some of the outtakes of some of the videos I've done, it'd be hilarious. So, hi, my name's Chris Tippett. Fucking hell. Oh, so early in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning to you, sir. And
morning.
Good. So, three people. Good morning, you three beautiful people watching us. Yeah. Say hi so we know who you are, because that'd be really good, because we're on StreamYard. So nice.
What are we talking about today, Tibbsy?
Well, today, mate, I think I want to talk about. Obviously, I've done Overeaters Anonymous, and I wanted to talk about. We did a blog post about it, and I wanted to just talk about some of the key parts in it. And for me, it was about facing reality. I think a lot of people don't face reality.
Yeah.
And I just thought that'd be cool. And then obviously, after we've done that and we've dropped some bombs, we can then talk about our other event today, which is scrolling along the bottom of the screen as we speak. So for me, when I went through my 12 steps program, which was a challenge, because it is, one of the things that make you do is face reality. And for me, it is starting about knowing yourself, because if you're going to battle any addiction or challenge, then the first person you need to get to know is yourself. And making myself look inward and having an honest appraisal of myself is good. And I think lots of people can learn from this, because there's the ability to evaluate your strengths and areas where you need to grow, which could happen anyway. For me, it was obviously making myself better and dealing with overeating, but it's then transferred into other parts of my life, so I can, evaluate my strengths, and then I can look at where I need to grow, getting feedback from other people, doing that whole 360-degree piece, going to people, who you respect, to people, even asking your kids, so you could go to your peer group, or you could go to children, and actually asking them, what do I do? What am I good at? What am I good at? And actually, you don't want to listen to what you're good at. You're more interested in where you can learn and where you can benefit. And then by appreciating that potential, it just allows you to define that authentic life. Because I think a lot of people live a lie. A lot of people or live somebody else's life.
That's a common. 100%. That was the biggest thing that I struggled with. When I sort of started this my own changes and looking in the mirror and not wanting to be the person I was as such. The now down the track, and I reflect back, the reality is that I was screaming out for attention, if you will. I was screaming out for to be recognised and noticed, and but that carries through with you when you get older. So when I got to my late teens, I didn't have a plan for what I was going to do with myself later on, and then as I get to middle 20s, you're then blinded. You're so far behind because I didn't have a plan. You're chasing the future, and that brings us to the point. And the point is that I'm not facing reality, or I wasn't facing reality. The reality was that I'd gone along, I'd rode the waves of other people. I'd tried to conform to society. I was chasing what society told us to be, which is, have a good job, have a family, have a wife, have a house, whatever, which is all cool. It's all good. But the reality is that I hadn't put the foundations in place to get me there. I'd not had a plan from the beginning. And by the time I wanted to make a change, I was now like, okay, I can see the future, chase the future. And it kicks you in the nuts every time because you haven't built the foundation. So, looking, that self-reflection is massive. And that was something I did. I spoke to you before about this. I spoke to the guys in our groups. I went out there and I asked my colleagues, straight away. I wanted to be a better individual, and they were people I respected. And I got feedback off them. What were my weaknesses, or what were my strengths? And do you know what? It was hard to take. It was hard to take, but that's how I grew from it. I grew from it.
And I think then once you're starting to know yourself, I think, and then you got that feedback, it's about acknowledging your obstacles. So for me in particular, and in my journey, it was like, you know, where are my triggers? Where's my difficulties? Where am I going to like to fall down? Because, you know, and people go, people think, oh, if I don't think about this, it's going to protect me. And people think that denial can protect you from those difficult truths. However, we all know that what that really does, it holds you back from making positive change. Because if you never confront
100%.
the difficult things in your life, all you're going to do is go, I'm going to hide from that. It's too difficult.
Avoidance.
But I think when we did that training on Friday, on Sunday, it wasn't even a training, it was a report, but we talked about that Ollie Ollerton and the Special Forces, and they always work out what is the worst thing that can happen, and then think about the 4 next worst things that happen and plan for it. And then at least when it does happen, it's never as bad, and actually it may not even happen. But how many people have fears and never actually face it? Because if you face it, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. Think about when you go to dentist. Everyone fears about going to dentist, don't they?
Yeah.
And then it's never as bad.
No. And the more we do it, the more we expose ourselves, then the easier it becomes before it comes the norm. It's actually a great. This is exactly where we're going to be going on in one of our sessions on Thursday, and it's centered around avoidance, all around avoidance. You know, again, I had these.
Can you pop into Co-op and get me some chocolate hobnobs?
I will not. That is something you have not overcome yet. I won't be getting any chocolate hobnobs.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I saw Co-op before chocolate hobnobs.
I grew up personally. You know, I grew up. I for some reason I created this fear of communicating. I don't know what it was, but communicating to certain people, and then as I've got older, it's developed into not being able to communicate with friends, not being able to communicate with family, not being able to communicate with colleagues, and ultimately, you know, that must have come from when I was a younger age. I've tried to communicate, and the response is not what I wanted. It's not. I didn't enjoy the response, let's say. So it caused a little bit of pain, and this is the same with anybody else who's got other fears. You know, if it's flying, if it's heights, if you aren't educated, then the body's natural instinct we are born to is, you know, fight or flight, and it's there to protect us. So fear is good. It's there. It's there to protect us, and you know, having a check on reality is good because it's there to protect us. But if we're not educated and then we start to avoid what our fears are, or avoid our weaknesses in this instance, then ultimately we can't overcome it. We can't grow. You know, and in fact, when it comes down to fears, we start to get other emotions. You know, anxiety builds from it. We suppress more, and then you've got a whole host of other problems that have all stemmed from sometimes just a small sort of challenge, a small weakness that if you expose yourself to and what strategies to doing so, then you actually can overcome it. You can reach real potential, or you can just live a fulfilled life without the fear of.
And I think that moves quite nicely into when feeling the fear. If we're going to face reality, I think the final point on this sort of section I want to cover is taking action. You know, once you've faced your fear, it's about taking action. You've got to take the practical steps you want to fulfill your goals, figure out your motivation, figure out your why, and actually put the ideas into motion, which is quite a nice segue into the fact that on Friday night, we do have a webinar where we're going to go through our Transform X program that starts on Monday.
It does start Monday, yeah. And we'll definitely
that'll be your chance to take action.
That will be, and we'll definitely go through strategies strategies around that, and in and around facing reality, and in and around facing fears, or identifying that there are small strategies you must take. Because for example, I feel like getting on a plane, or a weakness, however you want to get up. The reality is of not getting on a plane is that you're going to have a fulfilled life, but you are limited in what you can do around in travel, and we'll come up with strategies to overcome that. And sometimes it's very small tactics in the beginning that can lead to those big changes of eventually. It could be 10 or 12 steps before you even got on a plane or faced your biggest fear or whatever it is. Transform X will be a discovery session on Friday. We'll go through all of that and highlight the program.
Yeah, and I think the important thing about talking about that program is, and it leads me to this other point, is one of the critical parts of the 12 steps program I did, and any of them, is about connecting with others, and in that it's about asking for help. So quite often people never ask for help, and they never let their family or friends know how they can be supported. They never reach out for help. It's always the last resort. And I think if you can recognize your limits, it's a sign of strength rather than weakness. So asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And if you think about it, you can definitely accomplish more when you're willing to collaborate with others. And I think what we've noticed in our group is the strength of the group and the way they pick each other up, they support each other. Yes, they've got 2 world-class coaches in us, but actually, I think the real power is the group. It's the support that they offer each other, and the fact that you're in a group of people on the different levels of the journey, different stages of the journey, but actually all on the same path, all going in the same direction.
And that's a big point here. Is if you are wanting, if you're going to overcome, if you're going to, sort of raise your game, if you will. Everybody's on a different journey, so it's different buzzwords for different people, different horses for courses. But if you're going to do that, then you need to be surrounded by people who've got a similar drive to you. They want to improve themselves. People who are doing positive things. But don't make any mistake about this. We all struggle. And that's then the power in it, because often we can come up with, just through talking to somebody, just through connecting with somebody, you can actually come up with the solutions yourself. But unless you talk to people and open up, then you're not really asking the questions, and then you're almost beating on yourself rather than finding the answer, or asking the questions and finding the answers. Connecting with people is powerful. We are a species. A social species. We need to be connected. It's the way we're bred. And the first thing that we do when we want to hide from reality is actually we go away and disconnect. We disconnect from ourselves. We disconnect from people, from society, from our friends, from our family, and actually we become isolated. And we've got no way out. It's a vicious circle. Something so small, or could appear so small to other people, it can actually become such a huge thing, and literally for people.
I think that's really good as well, because by not withdrawing yourself and by giving generously, you then will start deepening your relationships and build your own self-esteem. Because if you start sharing your time, your talents, and your resources, I always say give more than you expect to receive, because actually, if you give more than you expect to receive, you probably find you receive twice as much back. And I think also, if you're then on that journey of sharing with people and you're helping people, the bonus is actually your own troubles will probably seem less overwhelming. If you're talking with people and sharing and helping them, all of a sudden you'll go, actually, it isn't that bad for me. Actually, I have got things pretty good. Whereas if you're on your own, you're in that feeling of, oh, woe is me, despair. And actually, if you start interacting and being more generous with your time and supporting people and sharing your talents, and actually, all of a sudden you'll realize, 1, I've got a skill. 2, I can help people. And 3, I'm not on my own. And, it's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, you don't want being on your own is not the place you want to be. Even when you feel lonely,
and especially
low,
on the journeys we talk about, mate. You know, some of the battles, you know, some of the dark places we've been to. You know, you don't want to be on your own, and I think to get the help, to give people the support and guidance they need on this emotional eating journey, you know, it's about being in a group, because when you're on your own, and everything feels twice as bad. Then you're going to start thinking about reaching for that biscuits. Then you're going to think, it doesn't matter. I've got no other reason to do this. Whereas actually, if you feel as though you're in that family, if you're feeling that group, you feel you've got a purpose, it makes a big difference. And I think the final part I want to talk about, which you'll love, is taking risks. You know, if you want to experience being known and understood, I think it's important to allow yourself to be vulnerable. So like, you've got to put yourself out there. You have to talk about your thoughts and feelings. And you need to give others opportunities to do the same. Because I think you and I both know, you know, when you bottle it up, what happens? And we've got a friendship and a business relationship, and we're very good in our business relationship that we don't let it go past 24 hours if we're not happy, because you can't.
Yeah. 100%.
We may think 24 hours, we'll give ourselves 24 hours to go, is it me? Is it something? No, it's still the same the next day. And we talk about it. Yeah,
100%. You know what? You can tie this whole conversation up with this last point in taking risks. Could be as, you know, as something such as having to face reality, looking at what your weaknesses are, because make the point known that if you're able to work on, or even look at yourself and say, what are my weaknesses, or take feedback from other people to identify what they believe your weaknesses are, that's a really, really that's a strength that, like, no, there's not many people willing to do that, and that's a risk, you know, and that makes you vulnerable. But we must understand that when we are vulnerable, other people appreciate that. It's a lesson I've learned along the way. As we open up with our emotions, the more we open up with our emotions, the more the people open up with their emotions. The world becomes connected. We become trusting. I trust you because you trust me. I open up to you because you open up to me. And as you do that, you know, just taking that little risk, opening up that vulnerability, actually again makes you stronger. I remember when I was in recruitment and I first started doing videos, I was absolutely petrified. I have no idea why I started doing a video. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. But I think it was along the lines of, well, everybody's doing the same tactics, and I'm not seeing anybody doing video to find more candidates. So I thought, I'm going to do it. It probably took me about 4 weeks to build the courage to do my first video. You know, talking to myself every day, getting on the train to work. But you know what? Soon after I'd done the first video, the amount of support from people, and then all of a sudden people start telling you, I can't, you know, how do you do that? You're so confident, you're so this, and I'm like, it's just took me 4 weeks to build up the courage to do one video, but the amount of support that I got from it, and the point is you'll be surprised by taking a little bit of a risk, by showing that little bit of vulnerability, how much support you have around you. You don't realize how much support you've got until you open up and you are a little bit vulnerable. Vulnerability is very good. It's good and it's healthy.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I agree. I think, good morning, Kevin. Poor Tinker doesn't like the dentist, by the way. I can't repeat what he said, but it begins with F.
Nothing to fear on the dentist.
Yeah, so brilliant. Well, look, on that note, I think, as you said, you know, we got Discovery Call on 7 p.m. on Friday. Friday, 7 p.m., where we'll go through a Transformation program. We're also actually going to do 7 steps to overcome emotional eating, which, even if you obviously hear a lot about the program, there'll be some value in it there, because you'll find something interesting out. So definitely join, definitely benefit from it. We will love it. It'll be the Chris and Dom act, so it'll be it'll be entertaining if nothing else.
And it will tell you exactly what, you know, it'll tell you. Let's make no bones about it. It's explicitly telling you about our program. what you get in it,
Yep,
what you get out of it,
Yep.
and everything in between. So yeah, 7
It's gonna
o'clock
be great.
Friday, eh?
7 p.m. on Friday, yes. And so thank you very much, Dom. It'd be nice having a walk with you today. Obviously, people listening on the podcast can't see the beautiful scenery. So I'm going to leave it to you, Dom Boyd. Our final thought of the day. I'm going to watch Jerry Springer now, so I get used to this. But remember Jerry Springer used to do his final thoughts. Dom's final thoughts, please.
Dom's final thoughts is emotions build trust and connectivity. Sharing your emotions with other people builds trust, builds connectivity.
And on that note, that's great. I'm going to live the final thought. Is join us today at 12 o'clock for Lunchbox Live, where we have our special guest from Warwickshire. So because we don't know where he's going to be, Alex Discipline Myers. If you are listening to this on podcast, make sure you check out Lunchbox Live on your favorite podcast provider. This is going to be fantastic. Alex has an amazing story. Dead chuffed he's coming on to speak to us, and it's going to be great. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching, listening. Have a great day, and we'll see you either at 12 o'clock today, or we'll see you tomorrow morning for the morning boost. Have a great day, everybody.
Adios.